Iowa's governor decided that extra federal unemployment benefit had lasted long enough. We're going to look at whether she could have let those payments continue, but used in a different way to help Iowans find a different kind of job one day. Plus, how the uncertainty of redistricting could be delaying some big-time decisions for the 2022 election. And in the Insider's Quick Six, the 4-month checkup for the president.
From your local election headquarters, this is the Insiders with Dave Price.
In less than a month, that extra $300 a week in federal benefits for Iowa's unemployed will disappear instead of in September when it was set to expire. Governor Kim Reynolds joined several other Republican governors in making that decision. She said that it's time for people to get back to work. Businesses need the workers, and people should no longer fear COVID-19. I asked our Insiders panel whether that's the right view.
I think the issue about that is, first of all, the Democrats clearly overdid it when they passed it. And oftentimes the federal government does this where they overreact and then act too late. And I think this is a great example of that. That being said, I guess I'm a traditional Republican. There's a couple of us still left, I think. And generally my view is you ought to have limited government but good government. And so my thought on that is if the federal government is going to be giving money to the states, and particularly a state like Iowa, which we're a small state, we ought to figure out a way to take it. Now, we should do so in a way that doesn't harm our economy, doesn't harm our employers. And there's no question when you give people more money by not working than working, they're not going to work. People are economically driven, whether they're Iowans or not. So it acted as a disincentive. I was hoping she would take that money and try to figure out a way to retrain people.
Can you do that with that money?
I think there's more flexibility. I certainly would have asked for it before I would have turned it back. I just think if the federal government doesn't hand out money to Iowa every day, we ought to take it.
Well, the reality is it's an extension of the CARES Act, which originally Trump put in place for $600 a week. And Biden changed that to $300 a week. And I agree actually with Doug. We should have figured out a way to keep it. The issue with our unemployed people, which there are 33,000 or so of people who are on this federal supplemental, is that they're sort of this being played a political football in a way, because these other states are doing it. Actually, Montana is giving $1,200 to people when they get a job.
Back to work.
Yeah, so
Which
there
is
are
an
other
innovative way
opportunities to do it, but the reality is this extension is over in September. The people who are getting this money, they may be getting paid more than they would potentially going back to work, but then you have to sort of think, hey, like the federal Fed chair said, if unemployment is this huge issue, usually wages go up. So maybe you have to sit down with businesses and say, you need to figure out a few more incentives to get people back on here. You also have to look at like the economy in Iowa broader. We've had stagnant population increases. We've had no population increases. We have stagnant wages. We have issues of being inclusive for people to come to Iowa. So how do you create an atmosphere and a place where these employers and employees want to come, and who do you focus on?
Yeah, I think what COVID did to everybody, politically, economically, socially, from a public health standpoint, is it stressed our systems. Yeah. And so we saw where all the weaknesses were. And unfortunately, on the political side, what it did is polarize even further. And as a result, the reaction to that pandemic was political and partisan in a more extreme way that we've seen in a long time. And some of these reactions reflect that. Same time, we have more income inequality than we've ever had before, and this accentuated that. So you got employers who are doing well, some better than ever, not able to get employees, and you got employees on the lower end of the income scale doing worse than ever. My view is try to take some of this money they're handing out like water and try to figure out a way to deal with that in Iowa.
What do you think going back, I was going to make a joke about population stagnant. It's not any reflection of the Gross family because
that's right.
You multiply.
5 with more grandkids
I
on
know,
the way.
you've done well to repopulate. But you've been around a while. You ran a campaign for governor, and this has been a thing for generations about this slow
Since 1900.
Yeah, so
okay, we had 13 congressional seats in
Right.
1900. We have 4 today and barely held on to the 4th.
Right, exactly. So what is the problem? And although truthfully, I should say this, I got an email from somebody when we brought this up in a previous show and said this isn't a bad thing because they don't want big growth.
And some people think that. I remember a long time ago when I was working with Governor Branstad, we created a goal to have every county in Iowa grow. And we ended up doing a focus group on that. And we found out that in many, many counties in Iowa, that was considered negative. They didn't want growth. Because they like, and it's another interesting factoid. I remember one time we did a poll and we said, of all the places in the world to live, do you think Iowa is the best? And 76% of the people said it was the best place of any other place in the world to live. So people love Iowa and they don't want it to change.
If they live here.
If they live here. And they don't want it to change. The problem is we can't sustain ourselves. We've got demographic issues that are worse than Japan's and going to be China's. And unless we grow, we're going to lose both political influence but economic capability.
Right.
We have the reason it's happened, Dave, since 1900, we run with the only state, I think, that lost population in the last century, from the beginning to the end. And the reason we haven't, because we're a very rich, productive state agriculturally, and we mechanize. And when you mechanize, you reduce the need for people. So you got to diversify your economy, and I agree that what you have to do is you have to make your state an attractive place to live, because it is a wonderful place to live if we give people a chance to find out.
So what makes it attractive, Jess?
Well, I came back, so
did?
I think it's an attractive place to live. But my concern, obviously, is as a mother and a person who wants to stay here, is this a place where we're saying, okay, people are welcome to be here? And I think it also takes some leadership, as you were discussing, where you want to go to these counties and say, do you want to grow? They don't want to grow. Maybe they don't want to grow because people not like them are coming into their communities. And as you expressed, you know, the pandemic has divided us. If you look back at 9/11, I was working on Capitol Hill at the time. The country was united. The country during times of crisis is generally really united.
For about 15 seconds.
Right. But at least there's times where you can look to opportunities to get things done rather than
common thread.
Right, rather than look at divisive rhetoric, divisive leadership, divisive policy issues. So there are a lot of opportunities here, but it takes a lot of leadership, and it's not just the people at the top. You know, it's not just the governor; it's everyone, right? But she has the opportunity and the platform to be able to make these things happen if she wants to. If you want to talk about, you know, diversifying our workforce, getting people good wages, being able to like give people good childcare, which if you want to talk about growing population, I mean, we've had this discussion multiple times about the cost of things like childcare. And then what happens is, you know, Biden comes out and says, I want to use the infrastructure bill to enable something like childcare benefits, which were there in the 80s. And people can't afford to have multiple kids because if you're making $50,000 here in Iowa, average childcare is $10,000. Your take-home pay is what? $38,000, so you're down to $28 just to live with a family of 4. It's really difficult.
Well, let me ask you. So I went through the Department of Management. If my math is right, there's about $2.5 billion of money from all of the federal CARES Act relief here that's not been, that we've had awarded, we don't have it all yet, but that has not been spent. So $2.5 billion here, Doug. It would seem that the governor's going to have a lot of flexibility because at some point the legislature will adjourn, I think.
Maybe.
Right?
But they don't seem to be interested in allocating that money anyway.
So
she has got enormous flexibility.
So do
using that money.
you think she'll end up returning some of this
God,
like
I
she
hope
did
not.
that
That's my
$95
point.
million?
I mean, you can disagree for good policy reasons with the impact of allocating that money, like unemployment, to reward people not to work. Obviously, nobody thinks that's good policy. But let's figure out a way to take that money and use that money to remake Iowa in a very positive way as a result of the stresses we've undergone. There's lots of ways to do that. There are going to be communities all across the state of Iowa, counties all across the state of Iowa, they're going to be getting millions of dollars I've never even thought of before. As a result of this largesse, Biden largesse I would call it, that we'll all end up paying for eventually. But nevertheless, let's use those dollars to help remake our communities. There's a great opportunity to do
But
that.
politically, is it smarter for her, like she did when she turned down the $95 million for schools, which is only 1% or 2% of our total take, but should she give some of it back?
I think the governor's done really well in handling the polemic that's me. I think she's
the pandemic?
I think she's done really well in
Turned into
handling
a
the
polemic.
pandemic, Dave, when she hasn't been overtly partisan political. When she got on TV and said, you got to wear some masks. We got to, in November, my God, we got to do something. We got bad
In
things
November.
there. Yeah, in November. I think initially she did a really good job too when she closed schools and closed businesses because we had to do something to tamp it down. Now, she obviously wanted to reopen, and I think did a generally good job of reopening in a gradual way, but whenever she got partisan, like sending a symbolic message of sending money back, or being Trumpian about messaging associated with the pandemic is where I think not only is that bad for the state of Iowa, I think it's bad politics too. Because I think what it does is it further polarizes the state, and I think she could rally everybody around her.
But I've heard some say that some of these have very specific purposes, the money, the way it's set up. So can you see something with this unspent money that would make sense? Broadband could be an idea, but besides that?
Absolutely. I mean, rattle the cage till you can. I mean, if the Democrats want you to spend money for something that makes no sense, they want to grow Belgian endive in Iowa with their money, that's silliness, okay?
Hasn't she already said, though, that she would use some of the federal money in her broadband
Yeah,
bill?
she
Yeah, they
has.
were waiting for the
Which I think
language,
is-
which
I
I
think
think
is
they
good.
now have.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
But there can be real opportunities in communities, and I would argue that I think local leaders have great opportunities with this money.
I agree.
To try to remake their communities in a way that is going to be sustainable long term. But let's be honest here, we're not going to grow Iowa unless we bring people in.
That's right.
We've never grown Iowa like my family has by having lots of kids. Okay, I grew up in a family of 10. We have 5. We have 8 grandkids, or 7, 8 maybe on the way. And we're not going to grow Iowa that way. We're not that productive, and frankly, we're too doggone old. So the only way we've ever grown rural Iowa is by bringing people in. My ancestors came because they were avoiding Bismarck's draft. He was punishing the Catholics in Germany in 1872, and they answered an ad in the newspaper for the railroad. And they ended up in Westphalia, Iowa. That's the only way we've grown our state. So we've got to get over this notion that bringing people in is a bad thing.
Up next, we'll look at one possible reason why some big decisions regarding high-profile races in 2022 might come later than expected.